Welcome to Explore English Churches, and today we are in Stow to come explore St Michael's Church, and we're in Northamptonshire. The village's actual fact is called Stow and Nine Churches, or Stow and Nine Churches, but there aren't 9 churches here, which we'll try and explain that a bit later. But there are some wonderful monuments in this church, and take a wander around to see what we find. So here we are, and it's a marvellous door, isn't it? Hey, absolutely super. And we're going to take a wander in and see what we find. It's very cold in here today, I will say that. Well, it's not a very big church, but it's a very interesting church. And it's been here for almost 2,000 years, which makes it even more interesting, doesn't it? Stow actually sits just off of the main A5, which the A5 was one of the main Roman roads, and it's as straight as a die, or it was as straight as a die, and I do believe it runs all the way to Wales. So you have a strong history here of the Romans, and obviously Stow played its part in that. I understand that they also found the remnants of a Roman soldier in the 20th century, not too far away from here. In this cabinet we have some wonderful stones here. And if I can tell you a little bit more about them, the vertical pillar stone to the right of the cabinet, which is the one there, they say that stone is dated from the 9th or 10th century, and it's believed to be a section of the standing cross, which probably would have been outside, obviously. We've seen one of these crosses before, but not that old, quite funnily enough. But yeah, it shows you the history and how far this church actually dates back. I can't tell you too much about the font, although it does look rather modern and Victorian, doesn't it? But it is a very interesting church. You can hear the wind blowing outside like billy-o. What we're going to do, we're going to take a wander down. There are some wonderful monuments down here, and also one of a knight that I want to be able to show you. I'm right underneath the tower here at the moment, and apparently the bells to the tower, which is a ring of 4 bells, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bells, was only replaced last October. Prior to that, they couldn't have them up there because of the poor state that the tower was in. But what I wanted to show you here was this wonderful ladder, and it's not very often that we come across one of these original ladders. And this ladder here must be, I don't know the actual date of it, but it must be around the 13th century, I should think. And it is absolutely wonderful. I wished, we had sort of touch video, and so you was able to touch this. It is truly, truly wonderful. And it goes all the way up there. It has been now replaced by something a little bit more sturdier, this quite horrible looking metal thing, but there you go. But it's lovely that they've left the original one in place. So here we go, back down to the church, and as I say, we're going to take a walk down to the chancel, and it really is a beautiful church. It's not as ornate as some that we've been to, but the history of the church, and again, because it isn't ornate, means that many parts of it are actually original. And what we do have down here, we have this enormous monument to this young lady here, and I'm going to come across and try to show you just how well that this is been put together. And this is Lady Elizabeth Carey, and she lived from 1546 to 1630. She did apparently design or order this monument 10 years before her death. And I want to show you just how good the stonework is on here. It really is absolutely fantastic. And apparently it was carried out by, I believe, or is in comparison to John Doone from St. Paul's Cathedral, who's done some of the monuments in St. Paul's. And this lady here, she was 84 when she died, which was remarkable that she'd lived that long, way back in the 1600s. It's rather super. I'll try and come round the other side here and show you just how delicate some of the work is. I'm sorry, I'm trying to squeeze through a little gap. Yeah, look at this. It really is super, isn't it? Look at this bodice and the lovely lace work there. I bet she never dreamt that she'd be on YouTube in 2024. But look, how wonderful is that? Look at this fella here. Oops. Okay, I'm having a little problem with the camera. There we go. Look at that. That alone is absolutely fabulous. The side of the tomb also, it records her son Charles, who was executed for his part in what was known as the Essex Rebellion. Many achievements of her son Sir Henry created Earl of Danby and Sir John Jr., whose marriage was to provide her heir. Now, what I want to show you is this fabulous knight over here. Bear with me. I've got to work my way around. And as we do, we're going to have a look at some of these lovely carvings. Look at these wonderful carvings here. This young lady's lost her hands, unfortunately. But that's rather gorgeous, isn't it? And the altar rail, as you can see, is very intricate. And that also has carvings in. I've got to be careful here that I don't fall over. And this is this chap here I wanted to show you. He's Sir Gerard de Lisle, if I'm pronouncing that, and he lived between 1304 and 1360. Let me see if I can. Whoa, I'm taking a chance here. As you can see, he's a knight in full armour, and he was a very He's a knight in full armour, and as you can see, he was a very important knight by all accounts. Apparently, his costume that he's in at the moment is his military service under Edward III in the Scottish Wars in 1333 to 1335, and then he went to France and he fought at the Battle of Crécy in 1346. In 1329, he inherited the manor at Church Stow, and on the death of his mother, he was a descendant of Gilbert de Gaunt, whose family held the manor since the Norman conquest of 1066 as a gift by their relative William the Conqueror. Very interesting. This chap also received a license to make a pilgrimage to Rome in 1350. He was 46 at the time. He was one of the barons who agreed to the appointment of the Pope as arbiter in the continuing dispute with France in 1357. He was summoned to Parliament, and in 1359 he was again engaged in the French wars. Now that is so interesting. This fella is here at this tiny little village in the middle of Northamptonshire, or edge of Northamptonshire, I believe. Over here we have this, well, I believe it to be a tiny piscina. It's rather sweet, isn't it? And this is where we are today. I always like to be able to show you those. And then behind me we have this, well, it's a Mammoth Monument to Dr. Thomas Turner. And, well, he obviously thought highly of himself. This thing is absolutely huge. Oops, that's Stevie falling over. And, yeah, he must have obviously thought a great deal of himself to have this monument put up. And apparently it cost £4,000 way back in 1714. So heaven knows, £4,000 back then. Today it's probably, I don't know, cracking on, I would think, to somewhere in the region of £300,000 to £400,000. But yeah. The monument was created by Thomas Stainer, an ambitious sculptor apparently. Here we have a list of the rectors, and as you can see, the first one there, they don't know what day or date there, but you have Hu de Pattershall in 1230. And there's a little village up the road called Pattershall, so I'm presuming that maybe the name of the village got changed, and that chappie took his name from the village. That would be my guess. He probably was just known as Hugh, and Hugh from Pattershall. So that would have been the norm, I believe, at the time. Whoops, Daisy, that's Steve falling over again. So yes. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed this tour of St. Michael's Church in the village of Stow, or as I like to call it, Stow and Nine Churches. Please like, subscribe, share the channel. It all helps the channel grow. And I look forward to seeing you all again on another one of our church explorations. And yeah. So thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Take care now. Bye.